Good morning, I'm Maddie Jansen, and this is the podcast of 17 News at Sunrise. It's everything you need to know to start your day in about 15 minutes.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
Right now at 5, a packed city council meeting as residents and city officials discuss where to put a new homeless shelter. Churches and businesses near the proposed location warning it's a recipe for disaster. We'll have the latest on what council members decided.
1 year after Borderline, how the community of Thousand Oaks has been forever changed, and how Sergeant Bronhelis, who died in the shooting, is being honored.
A man long suspected by family members of the so-called Bakersfield Three appears in court on unrelated charges. But the crusading moms of those missing and murdered were there. And 17's Vanessa Dillon talked to them about that hearing. We'll have that story on this Thursday, November 7th, 2019. Good to have you with us. I'm Maddie Jansen alongside Alex Fisher. Yet another day yesterday where I had the heater on in the morning and the AC on as I'm driving home.
It's definitely layer season for sure, because right now if you're going to be headed outside, it's a little chilly out there. Let's take a look at your forecast, because right now we're in the low 50s here on the Valley floor. Before we get to the temps, we first have to talk about this earthquake that happened just north of Ridgecrest about 15 minutes ago or so. It was a 3.5. Now, this is not a huge earthquake, but the reason why I bring this up is because this is just another example of all of the aftershocks that we're still seeing after that big earthquake back in July. So seismologists say this is perfectly normal, of course, but again, it is still active in that area. 51 degrees right now in Bakersfield. Humidity is at 38%. Winds are calm right now with visibility at 9 miles. And here's what you can expect over the next several hours as you go throughout your day. By 7 a.m., we're going to keep it again into the low 50s, warming things up into the high 70s, low 80s in the afternoon. And so definitely have to take those layers off. But for the morning commute, it's going to be pretty chilly out there. Right now in Tehachapi, you're in the high 30s with humidity at 31%, calm winds. And here's what you can expect over the next several hours. We're going to be in the mid 40s through the 7 a.m. hour, and then we're going to warm things up into the low 70s for the afternoon. We'll have a look at your forecast coming up in about 20 minutes.
All right, let's take you outside now and have a look at your morning commute. Here on this Thursday morning, it's Highway 99 and Airport Drive. Things are moving smoothly there. Nothing happening on the CHP page to report. Just, of course, look out for all of those construction projects around town. And we'll have another check coming up in about 15 minutes.
Major accident on Kimberlina Road overnight had the road shut down for several hours. Here's some video of the scene last night, just after 9 o'clock on Kimberlina Road near Shafter Avenue. The CHP says a black Eclipse veered into the path of a semi. Then the car and the semi hit each other head on. The driver of the car suffered major injuries and was airlifted to the hospital.
Where should Bakersfield's new low-barrier homeless shelter go? That has been a hot topic of debate for months. 17's Karen Waugh was at the city council meeting where people weren't afraid to speak up last night. People had strong views both for and against the location in question, 1900 Brundage Lane. The city council meeting was packed with overflow into the lobby, and the meeting got heated. Last week, the city of Bakersfield announced it reached a $3.83 million deal to buy a piece of land on Brundage Lane. That's currently the office building long occupied by Calcott and other warehouses. The property is 7.5 acres, and the shelter will be about 2.5 times the size of the Mission at Kern County. That would be space for 450 emergency beds, as well as pets, partners, and possessions. The shelter would also have wraparound service providers, a designated area for a BPD substation, a warehouse for storage, and a cafeteria. The proposal comes with a 10-acre property worth $1.1 million, which could one day be used for affordable housing. Many supporters said this location is the action we need now. But many business owners and church leaders near the proposed site worried the shelter would bring problems to the neighborhood, like crime, drugs, and mental illness.
This is a disaster waiting to happen.
We're not opposing this thing, but we think the maximum amount of beds is excessive, and I think it would be an overload for the community.
There's plenty of other places that we could look to put smaller facilities in place and put this burden on other parts of town as well.
There is no perfect location. Location will always be controversial. There will always be a business that says this is incompatible with our use. And More surprisingly than anything, I think there are many churches that are believing that it's incompatible with their use.
The feedback was so divided that city council members unanimously decided to delay the vote until January 22nd. In that time, they will look at other locations and ask the community for more feedback. All city council meetings are open to the public, so you're welcome to offer your input at a future meeting. I'm Karen Hua, 17 News.
Today marks 1 year since the deadly mass shooting at the Borderline Bar and Grill in Thousand Oaks. It was college country night at the bar. Most people inside were students in their 20s looking to take a break from work or school. Around 11:20 that night, a gunman who was a United States Marine Corps veteran shot a security guard standing outside the bar. He went inside and shot other employees before moving to shoot people inside the bar. 12 people were killed, including a Pepperdine University freshman and a survivor of the Las Vegas mass shooting. After officers entered the building, the gunman was found dead in the kitchen after killing himself. Yesterday, a portion of the 101 freeway was dedicated to fallen Ventura County Sheriff Sergeant Ron Helis.
One person was killed and 2 others injured in a shooting at a Church's Chicken in San Diego. San Diego police say a gunman walked into the restaurant around 5:35 yesterday and opened fire. They say the suspect was at the restaurant during the day but left after paying for food with a counterfeit $100 bill. He then came back to the restaurant with a gun. That's when he opened fire on 3 employees.
The suspect was initially a customer at this restaurant, got into some kind of an argument with the employees. The suspect left the restaurant, returned a few minutes later with a handgun. The suspect directed his fire at the 3 employees working at the restaurant. Each employee was shot. Unfortunately, one is deceased at this time. The other 2 employees are stable.
Police are still searching for that shooter. It was a day of camaraderie and fundraising for our local heroes.
KGET teamed up with Honor Flight Kern County for an all-media, all-day event to bring in money to send local veterans to our nation's capital.
And Honor Flight Kern County says more than $30,000 was raised at the all-day fundraiser. The funds will go toward a charter flight for 100 veterans next April to go see our nation's capital and the memorials built in their honor.
Yeah, if you'd like to donate, you still have time, of course. You can go to honorflightKernCounty.org. This is such a special time for these veterans, of course, and we've been talking about what this means, especially for our Vietnam veterans who did not have the proper homecoming when they returned from Vietnam. And so this is a great way to kind of pay back what they need, especially after that terrible time.
It means so much, and it is really a time of healing for them.
For sure.
Still ahead, we're following the latest on the impeachment inquiry from Washington, D.C.
Details coming up in about 20 minutes.
It's been nearly 18 months since a case tied to 3 friends made headlines. The murder of James Kolstad and the mysterious disappearance of Micah Holzenbeek and Bailey Despot left many wondering what led to such a complex case.
The mothers of the Bakersfield 3 have their own suspicions about who may know more about the case. Deemed a kidnapping suspect, Matthew Queen, Despot's boyfriend at the time of her disappearance, is someone the mothers have doubts about. And 17's Vanessa Dillon joins us this morning to tell us why the mothers choose to be at Queen's hearing.
Well, the 3 grieving mothers tell me it's a painful reminder of their agony, but say they're taking steps in the right direction. While the charges Matthew Queen is facing are not related to the Bakersfield 3, the mothers believe the case may unravel details about their children.
Every day is like the first day she went missing for 18 months, so it's a terrible thing to wonder what happened to her and imagine in your head what happened to her.
Jane Parent says not a day goes by when she doesn't feel the gut-wrenching absence of her daughter, Bailey Despot, now missing a year and a half.
I don't know what happened to her. They won't tell me for sure if she's alive or dead, so I always have that little bit of hope. Bailey's out there somewhere.
And the suffering no different for the mothers of James Kolstad and Micah Holzenbeek, men who their mothers believe had some sort of connection to Matthew Queen.
We know that he spent a significant amount of time with Micah. We know that Micah was not fond of him at all. We know that Micah had issues with the situation.
Grieving and on the search for justice together, all three mothers are ready to find answers.
It's a club that you never want to be a part of. We've been together from the very beginning, each one of us going through something different. My heart aches for them when their hearts ache. I can't imagine not knowing where your child is.
On Wednesday, the mother sat in on one of several hearings for Matthew Queen. Queen was set for a preliminary hearing on kidnapping charges unrelated to the Bakersfield 3 case, but he waived his right to the hearing. The mothers say they were not surprised.
It wasn't unexpected that he would attempt to hide or conceal things for the public's information, not wanting people to know information publicly.
Queen's decision yesterday now clears the way for a jury trial. All three mothers think that trial will reveal more about Queen's ties to the victims.
I consider this a positive move because the detective and the prosecuting attorney don't have to present anything either. So they don't have the benefit of knowing in advance what may or may not be said.
The kidnapping charges were filed last year after Queen allegedly forced a woman into an orchard at gunpoint, threatening to kill her. The woman says Queen questioned her about Despot being faithful to him, raising red flags for all three mothers. That's why the mothers were in court yesterday.
I was here to listen to the testimony, to hear firsthand what he did to my daughter and the girl who came forward, who was taken in the orchard with the gun put to her head and asked about Bailey, and then she witnessed him doing it to Bailey because she looked at him the wrong way.
Queen's arraignment is set for November 15th. That's when Queen's trial date is expected to be set. And over the last several weeks, we've sent dozens of requests to speak to Queen, but he's declined to comment on the case of the Bakersfield 3. For now, reporting live in the newsroom, I'm Vanessa Dillon, 17 News.
Vanessa, thank you. 4 Tehachapi area residents have been hospitalized for carbon monoxide poisoning stemming from improper generator use in home heating during the power shutoffs. The incidents happened over the past 2 weeks. Adventist Health Tehachapi Valley said a pregnant woman was poisoned after heating her home with her oven last month during Southern California Edison's PSPS. Another person was found unconscious in their home after starting up an emergency generator inside their garage. All patients survived. The hospital is advising residents to take precautions by installing battery-powered carbon monoxide detectors in their homes. Residents are also encouraged to learn how to properly use generators ahead of any future power shutoffs.
Elderly woman missing since Monday morning has been found. Bakersfield police said late last night they located Rose Lorthridge. She was considered at risk due to her age and certain health conditions. A 14-year-old from Pennsylvania has come up with an idea to eliminate a car's blind spots. Elena Gassler said she was motivated after finding out her mom didn't like driving their family's Jeep Grand Cherokee because it's a pillar, A-pillars caused blind spots. A-pillars support the vehicle's windshield and provide protection in case of a crash, but their size and angle also create blind spots. Gassler's prototype uses a webcam, projector, 3D printed adapter, and retro-reflective fabric to make a car's A-pillars essentially invisible. She won $25,000 at a nationwide science competition for her invention. Pretty cool.
It is a new website that will help fund local private schools, especially those that are faith-based. It's called Beyond Measure, and it's developed by Shift 3 Technologies, part of the Fresno-based tech company Bitwise. Through the site, private school teachers can ask for money and resources for their classrooms. It's a way for donors to contribute directly, and it's free for schools to register on the site.
It's often a misconception that private schools have a lot more resources than public schools, when in fact that's just really not true. In fact, most public school teachers, most private school teachers probably make 30 to 50% less than a public school teacher, and they also come out of pocket oftentimes $400 or $500 a year to buy classroom materials.
So far, Beyond Measure has launched with 4 local schools: Garces Memorial, Stockdale Christian, Heritage Oak, and Country Christian. But the website is open to all private schools around the nation.
525 now. Students graduating from high school often think about going to college, not trade school. But trade groups are often looking to recruit people for their programs. Kern Community College District and Bakersfield College hosted the 4th annual Women in Trades workshop at a local trade union training center yesterday.
I love working with my hands. I love being able to build stuff and later on say, look, I did that. I helped build that. What a lot of young girls don't realize is there's so many opportunities for women in construction. And it's not as hard as a lot of people make it out to be. And we need more women in construction.
We actually call this kind of like the other four-year college, as opposed to college and, being in a lot of debt. The apprenticeship program actually pays you.
Certified electricians, plumbers, pipe fitters, sheet metal workers, and carpenters were on hand to show students what they do every day in the building trades industry. It's a great
Absolutely.
option. Yeah, I just
Absolutely.
cannot stress enough. So.
KGET Business Watch is brought to you by Grapevine MSP Technology Services, the Valley's leading IT service provider.
Welcome back in your 17 Business Watch, and the National Basketball Association is trying to net in more viewers. It's launching a new streaming service that allows people to pay a monthly or annual fee for the product. Customers would have access to live games and other shows like The Warm-Up and NBA Crunch Time. The app will also have old games, including NBA Finals from 2000 through 2011. Having NBA TV goes for $6.99 a month. Shop till you drop and get cash back. National Cashback Day is today, and that tops our we're taking a look at this again, and it is a new holiday from Retail Me Not. To participate, all you have to do is just head to Retail Me Not's website or download their app. After creating an account, hit Cashback to see a list of participating retailers and all their deals. Your cash back will fall under My Rewards in about 45 days. From there, you can send yourself the money through PayPal or Venmo or redeem it with the purchase of a gift card. Maddie?